Welcome to Fighting for Common Ground.
Hi there. My name is Larry.
John.
Casey.
He hasn't mentioned
Oh,
his-
Ron, I'm just here in the background.
Oh, that's right.
Ron, the man in the chair, the engineer, the guy behind all this. Without him, it wouldn't happen. We'd just be talking to the walls. We might still be talking to the walls. I don't know. I know two people who listen to this. So
Reminds me of that Pink Floyd song. So, there's a lot of things have been going on this week. I mean, it's been a potpourri of insanity. That sounds like it could be a song. We've got Proposition 50 coming up, and for those that are listening that may not really be clued in, it's hard to imagine that people aren't, but I ran across somebody last night that was considered a very intelligent person, and he was clueless. So what Proposition 50 is, basically, it's a way of continuing a level playing ground, because Trump went to Governor Abbott from Texas, and he told him he wanted 5 more seats in the House of Representatives. So they went to gerrymandering and grabbing 5 more seats. So that means if they got away with that.
what is gerrymandering?
Gerrymandering is when they take the lines of the district and they draw them in such a way that it benefits one party.
Congressional grounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, so what'll happen is, essentially, if they do that, is there will never be fair elections, because the only way, the ones that'll win will be one party all the time. So how would it be if the Democrats were in that position? The Republicans would be screaming their heads off. And now in the state of California, just to keep that level playing ground by having Proposition 50, and vote yes on 50, by the way, by having that, we're able to keep this and prevent it from happening. But meanwhile, look at the ads.
What does Prop 50 do?
Prop 50.
And why are we having it? Why are the people
Because
voting?
in California, Proposition 50 will allow us to redraw the districts. So we'll get 5 votes more, which will level that playing ground that Texas has tried to pull.
5 more votes for Democrats.
Mm-hmm.
Democratic seats
Right.
from the U.S. House of Representatives or the Senate.
No, not the Senate. They're not really governed by gerrymandering, because the Senate, in the Senate, they're voted for based on the overall population.
Okay.
No.
Okay? The electorate.
No.
They're not.
No. The Senate, each state gets 2 senators.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with the population.
Well, I'm saying, but when they're voted on,
The House is based upon can be based upon population. That's what.
Right.
But the Senate isn't. The Senate, every state is equal.
what I'm saying, we're probably saying the same thing. What I'm saying is, when somebody is voted into the Senate, their votes aren't based on districts.
No.
Okay.
They're just based for the state.
For the state. So it's based on how many votes they get overall. It's a horse race, basically. Okay. So it's important that we continue and protect our democracy, because if Proposition 50 loses in California and we can't create that parity that we've already had, then what's going to happen is we're going to lose our democracy. Your voting is out the window. In fact, right now the Supreme Court is hearing a cases of that could actually do away with all of voting rights that were accomplished back in the 60s and 70s and so on. Those could go away.
What would that look like for?
Let me throw some statistics out at you guys. So the Texas House of Representatives has 62 Democrats out of 150 seats. The Texas Senate has 11 Democrats out of 31 seats.
Yeah, so Texas is heavily Republican.
Let me tell you that this is not true. The truth is out of 17 over 17 million voters registered in Texas. Over 8 million are Democrats.
Right.
Over 6 million are Republicans.
Exactly.
And over 2 million are unaffiliated.
And
so they've gerrymandered so much, there's actually more Democrats registered to vote in Texas than there are Republicans.
And by them changing their or gerrymandering their districts even further now, it'll only provide 2 seats for Democrats in the state of Texas. Out of and the state and all those other districts are going to go by way of Republicans, and they are actually in the minority. That's how off it is. So that's why we have to stop it. Look, people are complaining, and the ones that are complaining in California for Proposition 50 are the Republicans. Of course, they're complaining.
Oh yeah, they want to take over the power.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And that's what gets me. And what people need to do, and one thing I always do, is when I see an ad on TV, I look at the bottom. If I have to freeze frame the picture to pause it so I can read who is supporting that proposition or supporting an issue. It's important. You got to know who is behind the bills, who are behind the propositions. Because a lot of times they're out to fleece you. Okay? And if you're not paying attention, you're going to get fleeced. And then you're going to complain. And then you're going to talk about how our government's corrupt. Our government is only as corrupt as we allow them to be. We've allowed our government, our representatives, to sit in those seats and make decisions for us. And we're putting them in there. We don't even know who we're putting in. We don't even know who's backing them. And we need to do that. We need to pay more attention. Everybody has a responsibility. My daughters are young, 26 and 27, but from the time they were 18 years old, they've been voting. They're both disabled, but they are doing their civic responsibility. And that's the one obligation that I've always told them. It's the one obligation that we have as Americans is to vote. And my daughters know who they're voting for and what they're voting for. Because that's how they were brought up.
So when we look at Texas, there's 38 seats that they currently have in the U.S. representative, in the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
So 25 of them are Republican, 13 are Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at, with over 8 million Democrats and only slightly over 6 million Republicans, with gerrymandering, you're seeing it should be closer to equal. In fact,
it should be the Democrats.
Democrats should be slightly ahead if you were to look at it that way. If you were just to take a consensus and everybody's voting. Now, again, we don't know how many people are voting or not voting. That's another issue. But when you look at the House of Representatives, if you were just to break it down by population in terms of who's voting, there should be more Democratic seats in Texas than Republican. But gerrymandering, right, has sort of diminished that. And it's going to, they want to add 5 more seats so that then it would be, and if the consensus, that's the other thing that they try to do, is they want to, that's the other reason why they're trying to get rid of Latinos, right? Especially like in California, for example, or blue states, because if you get rid of them, then they're not part of the consensus. The smaller the population becomes, the fewer representatives you get. So the more people that leave California, the less the less seats you get in the House.
That's what
which means you have less power.
That's what happened to us in the last census.
Texas picked up 2. So not only have they picked up 2 seats, they used to only have 36, they have 38. Now they want to gerrymander so that they can take 5 more and it be 8 versus, whatever, 30, So they're trying different ways to cheat. And all Newsom is trying to do is saying, hey, that's not fair. Right. In fact, if you look at it, I think it was a year or 2 ago, in the U.S. House of Representatives, there was a bill on the floor pushed forward by the Democrats that said, let's make gerrymandering illegal.
Right.
Every single Democrat voted yes. Every single Republican said no.
Of course.
Because that's what they do. They cheat.
Yeah.
But what's the reason behind it? Why are they cheating?
Staying in power.
Yes, and who is it that they want in power though? That's the question.
They don't
want.
They don't care about the people.
What they care about is the people that are feeding them money. And in order, they'll do anything to stay in power so they can appease those contributors, for an example. Okay, so it's definitely uneven, and we need to keep it even.
And so that's basically what Newsom's saying. If you're just going to go in, because under the California Constitution, we're not allowed to gerrymander. So that's the purpose of this proposition, is to say, and this is a temporary thing. This isn't permanent.
5 years.
5 years, and in 5 years, the Constitution goes back to the way it was.
Right.
But right now, his mindset is, as blue states, to keep up with the red states, and it's not just Texas. That's just the one that's kind of out front.
Missouri is one of them.
Missouri's one of them. They were trying to do it in Indiana. I think that governor said no.
Probably Alabama, Arkansas.
Florida. Yes. So the red states are trying to do this. It's starting to become a thing with them. Yes, a movement with them, so that they can steal. They can essentially steal houses. They can cheat. The thing that kills me is that Americans will whine about some football game and they threw the wrong flag, but we don't care about cheating when it truly affects our lives.
But we'll support Trump, who will lie, cheat, and steal any way he can.
But what it does, Pepe, John, the thing that is really what's happening is they're not paying attention. They'll pay attention to what's happening in a football game, but they really don't pay attention to what's happening in our political world and what's going on and how it's going to affect them. If they truly understood that, they probably wouldn't be voting the way they do.
Well, because it doesn't affect them, and they don't care until it does affect them.
Yeah, it's too late then.
Mm-hmm. And then it's too late sometimes.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's
really what Prop 50 is about, is trying to even the playing field. That's all it is. So the idea is, and I played plenty of sports, like I'm going to give you a pass once or twice, but you keep cheating, then I'm going to start cheating. So
you hear that cute little noise in the background?
That's me.
That's my son with profound autism making noise back there.
I was going to say it was a dog.
We couldn't find a babysitter, so we're watching it today.
Okay, that's all right.
And we're kind of tired because he's our rooster in the morning.
Oh, he wakes you up, huh?
He woke you up. I was already awake.
That's cool.
that's
so
why, that's why you're so lethargic today, huh?
The thing is, anybody that's listening to this podcast has got to do their part. It's at a point now, it's not just a matter of listening and paying attention, but now it's also to the point of getting active.
Yes, you have to be active. People, I have friends, we talk, but they don't do anything about it. You've got to go out, get out and do something.
Yeah, to me, my part is not remaining silent. It's speaking out. It was one of the songs by Crosby, Stills and Nash. And one of the lyrics is "Speak out against the madness," and that's what I do. Can I do more? I am doing more.
We got to get your TikTok going.
Yeah.
Wake up with Larry Waterman.
But it's so true that we all have to get out there.
I would like better Wash Out the Red with Larry Waterman.
Maybe people,
not bad.
Maybe people should write in and or put in the comment section what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
We the People Resist with Larry Waterman.
Yes, right here. It's right there. So,
I mean, it's important, and I don't know that people understand it, and I think some people are afraid of it, and I understand why they would be afraid of it, because once you allow something to happen, it's harder to claw something back than it is to prevent it from ever getting hold of. It's sort of like weeds, but I don't agree with Michelle Obama anymore. When they go low, we go high. No,
She stopped. She actually doesn't say it anymore, and she doesn't. She doesn't support that herself.
I used to believe that. I'm not there anymore. You just got to get down in the dirt and fight with them now.
That's what somebody was telling me. Hey, when are you guys going to fight? Somebody told me that on the phone banking yesterday. When are you guys going to get out there and fight? And then another person told me. She goes, "What's Prop 50?" And I'm like, hey, I gave her the statistics, and she's like, okay, I'm going to go vote yes on it.
Oh, good.
So, you can get out there with the Democratic Party, and you can help volunteer and get people out there to vote yes on Prop 50. Do it. We need you. We need to fight. We cannot go laying down on this.
If the least you can do is go and attend a rally, go attend a rally. Be a part of that voice. Because the more that are there, the louder it is. The louder it is, the more they're going to hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, at the very least, take a little bit of time out of your day and contribute that time for the good of all.
Yeah, and you dip into your wallet and contribute a little more to our podcast. We'll take $1, $5, $1,000, whatever you've got to give people. We'll take it, okay? Because I've got a car payment.
So I've always believed you have to fight back. I've never have I ever sat down and been quiet about something.
Well, and I like that's the thing, and I wasn't a big proponent of Newsom. I mean, I voted for him, but I wasn't a big proponent. I didn't think he was great. I was just like, okay, he'll do okay. But I like what he's doing with Trump now. I mean, he is fighting back every which way he can, and I like it. And he's getting out there and he's getting dirty and he's talking to people, who are on the far right sometimes. He's
he went on a podcast with Charlie Kirk.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's getting in there and he's talking to people on the other side, and I think that's a good thing. So I mean,
yeah. So, well, he's gotten into it. He's had interviews with Steve Bannon, and the ones that are really up in arms about him with what he does with Trump and how he retaliates and does the exact same thing that Trump does to everybody else. And the ones on the right and the MAGA, they're just, oh man, how could he do that? And, it's not okay for him to do it, but it's okay for...
Well, that's the hypocrisy, and that's the thing that I think irritates me the most about MAGA, is the blatant, disgusting hypocrisy and the blatant, disgusting mendacity. They just lie about everything, and the people who still support it, it's like they don't care. I'm like, I had a friend, he works in a very strong MAGA company, and he voted for Trump the first time, realized his mistake pretty quickly, but he absolutely hates him now. But he's sort of a war expert. I mean, he's been in the military. He really studies the Ukraine war. He studied a lot of wars, and he basically told one of these MAGA people, essentially, who killed the most people in the world? Which empire?
The Russians.
No. The British Empire was the number one. And he said, who's number two? And she was like, oh, really? That's cool. And then as soon as he said it was the U.S., that's liberal bullshit. And that's the kind of crap that you have to deal with. You're like...
They don't even see that.
He's like, this isn't an opinion. I'm giving you the facts. Like, we as the United States have killed more people than any other empire on the planet except the British Empire. That's just the facts of it. She didn't want to hear that.
Well, that's because she's taking it as a personal attack. She doesn't look at it around history. Those kind of people aren't interested in history or the facts of history.
They aren't interested in facts at all.
Yeah, but
unless the facts work for them.
And they come from a place of they come from their emotions. Mm-hmm. Anytime somebody comes from their emotions, they're off balance.
Oh. Well, that's the thing. Like, I voted for Obama. I liked Obama, but I even admit there were more drone strikes and people killed under his administration. That's just a fact.
I agree with you 100%.
It's just what it is. And if you
and-
can't admit that with Trump, you might like him, but you can't sit there and say anything about him like
and
that.
I agree, and I was with you. I was like, I don't agree with that. That's part of the policy that I disagree with him doing. As a president. So, but they don't want to do that because, like Larry said, they look at Trump as them, and so they've tied their identity to him or the Republican Party or MAGA, right, or the flag. I mean, they'll wave the flag and they will thump their Bible, but they won't actually read the Bible or live by the Bible. They will wave the flag, but they won't actually read the Constitution or live by the Constitution. They're okay with people shitting on it and Trump wiping his ass with it. That's the part of the problem, and that's where we are with gerrymandering. And getting back to that point, we bitch about my son's soccer game, which doesn't even matter. We'll bitch about the inequity in there because a ref does one thing, but when it comes to your actual life and seeing when your side is cheating, it's perfectly all right, but if the other side does it, it's wrong. How about we just all try not to cheat? I mean, that doesn't mean you're not going to make mistakes at times. Officials make mistakes.
Hey, I got an idea. I got a very novel idea. How about we get rid of the fucking party system? Because and I've said that for years. I've said that for 50 years. Because when I walked out of a DMV office one day, there was a guy that was registering people, and I asked, "Can I re-register?" He said, "Sure." And I re-registered. At that time, they had it known as nonpartisan. Mm-hmm. And I've been nonpartisan for 50 years because I knew back then, as I know now, that the party system only divides people, just like religion divides people. It doesn't unite people. If there's compassion in there and it's based on compassion and based on humanity, then you have half a chance. But if those elements aren't part of it, it's a losing battle. And we all lose, not just one group. The whole country loses.
Well, I think what you're talking about is the two-party system in particular.
Well, that's all we basically have. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm saying we don't need a two-party system. We need people just to be able to find the person that's more aligned with themselves than what the party says.
Well, I think that's still dangerous. Look at Trump. I mean, he was not a typical Republican.
Oh, no, he was actually a Democrat before he was a Republican.
Doesn't Britain have 5 parties? How does that even work? I mean, is there going to be two
Italy's
dominant
that way.
Ones? Is there what are the dominant ones?
They fight over seats. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a parliamentary thing. Italy's that way. Israel is that way in the Knesset. Mm-hmm. There's many, many countries. Actually, they probably are better off that way than we are. Because in our country...
Well, then they have to make coalitions, right? Sometimes.
Well, in our country, it's either or. That's a hell of a way to go.
Yeah.
Either you get bologna or you're going to get salami. You don't get anything else. Those are your choices. That almost sounds like Russia, if you ask me. Either or. In Russia, you get very few choices. Not of politicians. I'm just talking in general. I used to, years ago when I was in retail, I would get people from Russia. Sometimes they were from the ballet. They would come into our store, and they would buy products to take back over there to sell. Because they recognized the quality. There was a quality difference. They couldn't get our products. In fact, it got to the point where it was illegal to bring things like Levi's into Russia. I remember that one person, a person from the ballet, was accompanied by another person. This guy was tall. It was in the summer. It was out in Orange County. This guy had a leather jacket, like a duster. And he had dark sunglasses. The guy was friggin' KGB. They were following their ballet, their ballet artists around. They would never get out of their sight. They were afraid of defection. Wow. So that's what I'm saying. I almost look at our system and what we have And it's really not any better than what Russia's doing. And we're the first ones to complain about Russia. Excuse me. Now, we've gotten away from complaining about Russia. Now we're complaining about China. You see what he's done recently? He's adding 100% tariff on China. The stock market just dropped by over 800 points on Friday.
Fun.
Chicken taco. They must have wanted to buy something out of the stock market.
How does that work? Like when you get imports, say,
Chicken taco.
let's say imported beer. How's that going to affect?
The distributor or the importer is the one that has to pay the tax.
Anything like we love our imports. We love our
yes, we do.
things coming in, and yet it's going to be not everything American made is crap. American beer is kind of crap. You know?
It sure is.
American cars are crap.
That's why I don't drink American beer.
So it's just like
That's why I don't drive American cars.
I'll drink Mexican beer.
Although I do have a Chevy. Silverado.
Trucks are better. They put
Well, look, that's the other.
effort into
That's
trucks.
the other thing. You know, it's just like a lot of the products that we get from China. Sometimes they're just components to build other products that we build here. Mm-hmm. That's all those products that we're building here. They're acting like, oh, the prices on American goods aren't going to go up. Like hell they're not, because we're buying those components that we're having to pay extra duty on to build these things.
Did you see that thing?
Yeah, but you
where-
know why Trump got mad at China? It's because they got they put a block on their rare minerals. They stopped the rare minerals that he wants from coming over here.
And look how.
So now he's all mad, and he's like, "Well, I'm going to put 100% tariff."
Do you
on
think that hurts China? If it's a matter of them selling their stuff, they'll just go somewhere else. They don't need us.
Everybody needs China. That's why.
They don't need us.
Everybody likes China.
China's technology has gotten much better over the years.
Did you see the things they use for walking? Like if you want to go walk up the hills or walk up whatever, it's these legs you put on.
Right.
They have these things where it'll walk for
It's like an exoskeleton.
exoskeleton, exactly what it is.
What for?
Just for walking.
If you're
like,
weak, let's say you have weakness in your
Yeah.
legs, you can only walk so far.
You can walk up all kinds of stuff, and it's a
for
thing
the
out
elderly,
there.
huh?
Yeah.
Well,
they even have a whole body one for someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I had to look into that more.
No, I saw it, and I'm like, okay, so we were told that, like China, for example, can build a bridge in half the time as America, but it's crap. So is it that true?
It's crap. Who's the one calling it crap?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's like, do they really
For whatever
build?
reason, we're not allowed to sell Chinese cars here, and their cars are like way.
Oh
cool.
yeah, their electric
cars are so cool.
Their
Yeah,
electric cars are unbelievable.
and their prices are so good.
And
on
not
them.
only that, Mexico. They've just introduced, I think, a couple of car companies down there that are building electric cars. So, we're being left in the dust.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, if you're listening, listen. We're being left in the dust because of a man that thinks he's smarter than everybody else, but he's dumber than a rock.
Yeah.
He really is.
Well, it's not just him. He's just the
He's their
vehicle
little
that they're
puppet.
using. Yeah.
Well,
Did you hear Marjorie Taylor say that?
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, she said that
Hey, she's
all the people
coming
he's
to
got
our side.
talking in his ear. Yeah.
Because their sons are paying premiums on their medical insurance, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
exactly.
That affects her.
So now it affects her. This is what happens to people. And this is what's going to happen to you guys if you don't go out in California here and vote for Prop 50. And we
need
even
you.
up the playing field. And we play dirty like, Trump and his people are playing. Because I don't even want to say Republicans, but the MAGA.
The MAGA, yeah.
At the end of the day, if you don't do that, these things that are maybe not affecting you yet are going to affect you. I mean, here we are. Look, weren't we supposed to have egg prices down in 24 hours? Wasn't the Ukraine war supposed to be done in 24 hours? I mean, gas has gone up, not down.
Yeah, out here it's
What
up.
would they say was over 30% rate?
It's
higher
gas rate.
38% higher prices in the grocery
And
store.
they're
right
trying to tell us the gas prices are down. Well, not when I go to the pump and it's $4.39 a
It's
gallon.
not down, no. And that's just at the cheap places like Arco. If you're going to Shell,
Costco.
Costco, I've got some 5 pounds of roast there. It was nearly $50.
Oh yeah, all meat.
Yeah.
Meat is
Yeah, meat is
definitely
up.
up. So I'm not going to beat a dead horse. We all know that we've been lied to, and even the people that are listening to us most likely know that we've been lied to. But how much crap are you going to eat before you start to do something about it?
And this is the first step towards it, I think. Yeah, at least the opportunity that we have is to turn Congress blue at the midterms to at least halt what Trump is doing.
Right.
That's what you got to do. And this is the first step towards it because of what Trump and Abbott are doing in Texas. I mean, this may not even be enough if other red states get together and do the same thing.
I wish
This could be a
some
problem.
more states would get on
thing
board.
is,
They're trying. They're trying.
thing that needs to be recognized is the snowball effect. You look at one thing, and all of a sudden that one thing affects another thing, and that other thing affects
That might be the butterfly
other
effect.
things. There's so many.
That's the butterfly effect, Larry.
Okay, all right. Well, however
Things snowball into something, but that's the butterfly effect.
but nonetheless, what I'm saying is that okay.
Make the sound of a butterfly for me. There we go. Yay,
So,
Larry.
so the thing is, in regards to healthcare,
Oh, yeah.
with them taking, affecting Medicaid, and so what else is affected? Well, I already saw that in Riverside County there are 2 maternity wards, and the hospitals are
They're
shutting
closing.
down.
Oh yeah, that's what Takano was saying yesterday.
Right. Okay. And so, is that what you want? We talk about how we care for kids. Is that how we're going to care for kids that are being brought into the world by shutting down maternity wards?
There's pro-life for you.
Yeah.
Force them to have babies, but where?
But then
Yeah.
people should understand that they should ask themselves, well, how's that going to affect me? Well, what's going to affect you is those other people that are working in those facilities are going to lose their jobs. And when they lose their jobs, it puts more strain on the economy. And this is going to happen, snowball, as I say. It's going to go into many other areas. And they're going to wind up mimicking that whole process. And there'll be more people out of jobs. And when there are more people out of jobs, that means there's less consumers. When there's less consumers, that's more people that get unemployed because the companies can't continue to pay them because they're not selling as much of their goods. Wake up, for God's sakes. This is what's going to happen. And then everybody's going to be whining and crying, and people are going to be out of their homes because they can't pay their mortgages. People that have their parents in healthcare facilities that are going to close down and not going to get paid from Medicaid are going to have to take their parents in. And they themselves may not be doing all that great. And when that happens, they lose everything. Are you going to let your parents go on the street and just ignore that they exist? Or are you going to try to do your best to take care of them? But people don't care, not the public so much, but the people that are representing you in Washington. You've got to go after them. And if they don't care enough, vote them out.
Yeah, because it seems like if you get rid of democracy, then Republicans are next. And then what do you have? It's like you said,
We're going to have the fuck around and find out effect.
Maybe. I don't know.
It's some people say it's never too late. In a sense, that's true, but it's too late if you're not willing to fight, because that's what it's going to take.
You know what? I've been selling a lot of my stuff lately, just clearing house and cleaning house. And what's really bothering me is a lot of times when you sell something, you get to talk to people, you get to communicate, you get to see what they're going to use your amp for, or whatever it might be, right? Mm-hmm. People are afraid to even come to the door now. They're afraid to come to the door. I have to go outside. I have to bring the product to them. And they're okay with taking it and finding out if it works or not. They don't want to come into the home. And they're usually Hispanic people. And maybe they look at me because I'm white, whatever it might be. I sold a doghouse yesterday. And they were very standoffish and very what I'm not used to now. But because of this administration, I've noticed, I don't want people to be afraid of me and standoffish, because that's part of the reason. You sell a guitar, you communicate with people. It's gone.
If you took your ICE badge off once in a while.
Yeah.
What about that poor little Asian guy that you were going to sell that little music piece too, and he's like, "It's fine, I'll take it."
Yeah, he says, "Oh yeah." He's like, "No, I don't need to come in. I'll just take it." And he gave me the money, and that happened 3 times. Now I did a couple other ones, and they were different. They weren't as extreme as that, but that's the world we're living in right now. And I'm like, I kind of.
Well, I'm very uncomfortable in your house right now.
Well,
That's only because I'm sitting next to you.
I know, Larry.
yeah. So I mean, that's just in my world, and the stuff that I've seen. It's kind of like, wow, it's changing. And
You know
can
how
feel it.
you know how it's really going to change? That you won't get anybody calling you for your goods because they won't have the money to do it.
Right. Yeah.
People aren't going to have. It's hard enough that they're trying to make ends meet now. It's just beginning.
Well, it's already destroyed my business.
Yeah.
Oh, has
There
it?
you go.
Oh, yeah.
We're done. Yeah. It's
We're done. We're closing by December.
We're just getting rid of what we can, selling everything for $5 out the door. And
This is Starbucks is feeling it.
oh, there.
Oh yeah, they're closing down. They're closing.
Really?
And if anybody was really on top of the world, it was Starbucks.
Starbucks is closing their stores.
There's-
Yep.
Oh yeah.
How long has this been going on?
It just announced last week.
Holy shit!
I just saw this morning 2,000 U.S. banks are going down too. They're closing their locations.
That's I've always suggested to people to take their money out of the banks and only leave what you need to be able to pay your bills and other things. Leave that in. Take your cash. You turn it into silver. I bought some silver. It's appreciated by 25% since I bought it, and it's going up.
TMI.
Well, maybe you should get some
TMI.
silver Trump
TMI.
coins.
I wouldn't buy
Don't tell the public.
I wouldn't buy anything that's got his ugly face on it. But it's the times. The times didn't have to go like this. When Biden left, and I don't give a shit what these people complain and bitch and moan about Biden. The truth is, nobody was feeling any pain like they're feeling now.
No, we were in the best economy we'd been in
Yeah.
40 years.
And yet they turn around and point the finger at him, talking about how bad he was.
Or then they say Obama. What about what Obama did?
It's always back on
Obama.
that.
What Obama and Biden did it. 2 wrongs never make a right. What are you talking about?
They
Just
didn't-
because somebody did something and nobody.
Wait.
They never had no due process.
You know what? The truth is, with Biden and Obama, they did what they had to do to improve the economy because the fucking Republicans turned around and screwed everything up. They screwed everything up under Bush, with the housing and the overall economy. And then when Trump came in, he screwed shit up. We wound up with COVID, and COVID was just one of the many things that he caused problems for us.
Hey, we can give Trump the Nobel Piece of Shit Prize.
Yeah.
I would
Well,
give him
he's
that.
it's funny. He all the times he wanted to get the Nobel Peace Prize, he didn't get it. I didn't think he would.
The deadline was in January.
Yeah, I know it was.
Yeah.
It's something to somebody.
But you see,
provided.
He thought he was still going to get
This
it.
guy, that's how stupid he is. He doesn't even know the details or how things work. If he had an ounce of brains in his head instead of shit for brains, he would have realized that, I'm not eligible for it because the voting is in January. I mean, come on, give me a break. He's supposed to be the president and have all these people at his disposal to inform him, but he can't because he's brought in morons into the cabinet and into positions in this government.
What is he? Oh.
And there's no damage that was done. The Democrats always have to clean up the crap that the Republicans leave behind.
And that goes back to Reagan.
Oh yeah, I was going to say that exactly. Reagan was no saint.
He tripled the deficit, and then that hurt Bush because Bush was like Bush 1, no new taxes, and he's like halfway through I got to raise taxes. I mean we can't afford to. I mean he even talked about voodoo economics with him.
Yeah.
And then Clinton came in, cleaned everything up. We were on track to pay off the national debt in about a decade. We were running in the black. We were making money.
Right.
Bush came in,
He screwed it all up.
blew that up. Obama came in, fixed the economy because we basically had a depression. They just called it the Great Recession to make it, euphemistic. Trump came in, economy was fine, doing well. He came in, fucked that up, and we had all these things in place way back. And that goes back to Bush 1 because of the bird flu and and mad cow's disease and things like that. That we had all these things in place with the CDC to basically say, like, hey, look, if we have some sort of pandemic happen, we've got all these things in place. We've got a playbook set up so that we can help prevent that from happening here. And that dipshit didn't follow it. He made it political about wearing a mask and just, whether you wanted to or not. I didn't want to wear a mask either. I didn't want to be stuck in the house, but you got to do what's best for
the
population. If you're an American, if you are a real patriot, you're like, if the experts are telling me this is what I need to do to not only protect myself, but protect my fellow Americans, this is what I should be doing. That's what I could never understand with people who are like, my rights don't end where yours,
That's a small sacrifice.
Yes. So sacrifice wearing a mask so you protect other people. Like, come on. We're all supposed to be Americans here. But no, what it was is I want my rights. And that's the problem with
the right wing.
Yeah.
You know what? You mentioned Reagan. Let's go back to him for a second. You
voted for him. It's your fault.
Reagan was always held on a pedestal.
I did vote for Reagan.
And you said, the one thing I'll say that Reagan did right.
I didn't vote for Veruca Salt, though. That's who we got in the White House.
I'll say the one thing that Reagan did right was he gave amnesty to all the
a million illegals.
I think it was more than that, but
I heard it was 1 million, but it could be. Yeah.
But regardless, he provided amnesty for a lot of people.
Well, and you look at it, even though he tripled the deficit, he did crush the USSR, so that was a positive that came out of that.
That was going to happen. Before he did that, I knew that was coming, and it was. Did he contribute to that? Sure, he did.
He definitely sped it up. For sure. They couldn't keep up. They couldn't keep pace with us.
But under Reagan, when he was governor of California, and everybody thought, oh, he's anti-abortion. He signed the abortion bill as governor of California before Roe versus Wade. And if anybody is concerned, look it up. I know the facts. Look it up. That's exactly what happened.
But didn't he also sign? I know I posted it. He signed a bill for the immigrants to be able to get health insurance at one point, so that it wouldn't put such a strain on the medical. Yeah.
Well, he did a lot of things, but they
weren't all bad, and this is the problem.
He was no saint either.
No, of course not. And same with Obama, same with Clinton,
But they all had diplomacy.
Well, and they took some responsibility, and they
weren't narcissists.
Yeah, they weren't narcissists like Trump. So, and they didn't have Project 2025.
Reagan closed down all the mental institutions in California. He is the sole reason why we had the homeless population in California.
Well, he's not the sole.
Well, all those people that were mentally ill that he put out on the street, it populated and exacerbated the problem.
I mean, you got it. You can't just blame him.
Well, in a way, he wanted them to go. A lot of those people to be able to be supported in their homes too. So at that time is when they started to put IHSS together, and then a lot of those people were being abused in those institutions too. So I mean, in a way, he was trying to help, and in another way,
it hurt.
I don't think the abuse that may have gone on. I don't think that was his reason for closing them up. I think his reason for closing them up was money. To save money, and because when he left, there was an abundance of money in the California Treasury, okay, and that was his premise, was to leave office with a healthy treasury, and it wasn't because there was people being abused. Because honestly, back in those days, we were really looking at abuse. I know I'm going to be 75 next month. So I was around.
So we're putting you in a home. We're going to see what you think of it, Larry.
I'm pretty sure I've seen many pictures of those people being abused in those places.
Bitch. No, but
I wasn't alive.
But the truth, I was, and the truth was, nobody was talking about the abuse.
I mean, I might have been alive, but not a voter.
Nobody talked about it. I mean, did it go on? Sure, without a doubt, it was going on. But they weren't talking about that. They were talking about how much money they were going to save. And all these people wound up on the streets, nowhere to go. And now it was turned into there's no place to go, because when he became president, he did the same thing nationally.
What's that?
He took away all the funding for the mental health institutions.
Well, he couldn't do that by himself.
Well, look, he still gets he
takes credit for it because
Yeah.
he signed it. Yes.
Yes.
It's kind of weird because you go to Pomona and that's where Patton was, right? That mental facility.
No, Patton's in San Bernardino.
Is it?
And it's still open.
Is it Kellogg? Which is the one that's in Pomona?
Probably Kellogg.
Okay, and then that's a lot of homeless people out there. So it's like, what did they just generate?
We had it in Orange
Pomona
County.
takes the best care of the homeless people. That's why, because they have a church out there. They give them food. They shower them. They help them do laundry. They have, I forget the name of it, but they have a building where they can sleep at night.
In Orange County, we had Fairview State Mental Hospital over on Harbor Boulevard in Costa Mesa. You know, a big facility. It was gated, so that nobody, it wasn't easy for them to get loose if they tried to go off the grounds.
But we digress, guys. We digress.
So
if we vote for Prop 50, you're going to get all those things back. Just kidding. No, that's not going to happen.
What's going on with 36? Wasn't that supposed to make like homelessness illegal? I mean, that's what I thought I voted for, like getting them off the streets. So where are they going to go?
Well, Brian Kilmeade had an answer for that from Fox.
Yeah,
So
just
kill
euthanize them. Just euthanize them is what he said.
yeah.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, that's
It was okay. It was okay for him to get away with it. Nobody really said anything from the right about him saying that. It really came from the left because of what he said, that they were appalled. But the people from the right weren't really appalled. But God forbid they said anything about Charlie Kirk. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God!
Public executions. Is that what he was?
Yeah.
He the one that said that?
he was for it.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
for euthanasia.
Didn't that?
No, he
ironic?
wasn't for euthanasia. It was for public executions.
Oh, okay.
Like you should kill
Ironically.
people out in public when they
Ironically.
get the death penalty.
Yeah, for what?
And they
For-
even discussed on his podcast.
For being homeless?
Well, no, not for being homeless, just in general. How young was too young to watch a public execution on his podcast?
That's sick.
It's
Oh, you're
very
talking
sick.
about Charlie Kirk.
I'm talking about the Kirkster.
I'm
Really?
sorry. I was thinking.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And one of them was like 12. I mean, 12 is kind of the right. Like, oh, okay.
And black women were not intelligent. I
No,
mean,
just black people in particular.
General.
Women. Yeah. They belonged in the kitchen. So
Right.
can you go get me some, Casey?
right. Pregnant and the
I don't know about the pregnant part, but definitely, can you go get
No, that's what.
Well, they're all going to be pregnant because they ain't going to have Planned
They
Parenthood
wanted-
anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
They wanted procreation, but the woman should stay in the home. That was
yes.
the whole deal.
I saw a thing that kind of was real weird at the Charlie Kirk. I don't know if this is bad to brought up, but the girl was talking about, my dad raped me and I still kept the child and he's doing good, and they all cheered. And I'm like,
Yes.
is this weird to me? Because
Yes, it's sick.
that's weird for me to hear.
Very
that.
weird.
You know, that was.
In
I
my
had a
opinion.
discussion with somebody the other day. You know, they're talking about, the abortion issue and all that. And my point was, you force a girl to have a child, whether it's from a rape, whether it's from incest,
Whether
no
it's just
matter
from
what
the
it
act.
is, even
A
if
consensual act.
just that's true, consensual act that they didn't expect, they weren't planning, and a child may be brought into the world. The child may not be loved. The child may be resented. The child may be abused as a result. Is that the kind of life that a child should have to endure?
It's nothing worse than an unloved child.
Tell me about it. And it's funny how these people keep talking about, and they try to pontificate about how they love the children and all this crap
But you want
because
to-
they don't live by it.
But you want to take free lunches away.
Yeah, they
But I
don't.
really want to throw eggs at them when they're in front of Planned Parenthood.
They don't.
Just
They don't live by their word, and that's just infuriates
That's
me.
what I mentioned earlier. That's the thing that pisses me off the most
Yeah.
about MAGA is that they're just the absolute sanctimonious behavior and the lying on top of it, but just the sanctimonious behavior. It's horrible. Like, you don't make any sense, and it's just not having any logic. It doesn't make any sense. You want the kid born, but you don't want them taken care of. It's just not right.
Right. Exactly. Because it's like they love the fetus and they hate the child.
Yeah.
Because
no food stamps for the mom who can't work because she's got babies.
That's right.
Yeah.
And not just for that. Even forget about the work requirement or anything like that. Just the mere fact, who are they actually affecting? The mother or the child? So you're gonna turn around and penalize an infant, maybe that's just newborn, because the mother can't go out and get a job. And when I was married and we had our first child, I told my wife at that time that she didn't need to go out and get a job, because what she might make in a job, we could.
Heritage Foundation motherfucker! I knew it.
I told her that she couldn't get a job because with what she would make at that job couldn't pay for the child care.
Yeah, so it didn't make any sense.
No, so she had to stay with the child. But I said, but once the child's going to school, then you can look for a job. Mm-hmm. That made more sense.
Well, you're just talking logic.
Well,
there.
I remember.
I'm sorry.
When Jeremy was little, I was working at gas stations, and I was having, this friend. And this was before me and Ron together. This friend and that friend watched Jeremy, and so I was like, okay, this isn't working. So I quit my job, and I got on food stamps and cash aid, and so. At that point, they made you do, if you were going to get that support, they would have you go out and look for a job. And look for a job. And then Jeremy, autism. Mm-hmm. He's got autism, right? So he's got severe autism.
Tylenol. A lot of Tylenol.
Severe autism. So they would pay for him to go into a daycare.
Which costs a lot of money.
He was getting kicked out of this daycare and then kicked out of this daycare. And finally, they made me exempt.
Oh, yeah.
So that I didn't have to look for the job for him to get that daycare. But meanwhile, they were giving me job leads, and I was able to get a job for like 3 hours. That worked while he was in school. And it was a good program, and it helped us a lot. I mean, it saved our life.
Yeah.
Being able to get those food stamps and that cash aid for that period of time and those job leads. I don't even think they do those job leads anymore.
There was a time where you didn't have to go out and look for a job. That came later. It was because that was what they would do to you if you were on unemployment. You had to go out and look, have so many.
Oh yeah, that's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
but they exempt me from that, but they would still give me the job leads. And I got the job at the school district, it took a long time to get in there. It takes a long time to get in a school district. So that was a job that I could do while he was in school, and it didn't affect him. And it worked for 20 years until they want out of high school.
And they want to make it harder for people, and rather than try to help give them the moral support, help give them the incentives. It's this notion about putting restrictions on people that need it the most. It's like having them tell me that I have to, in order for me to get Medicaid or Medi-Cal, that I should have to go out and get a job or look for a job. That's bullshit. I shouldn't have to, especially at my age. And I got 2 disabled daughters that don't work. Yeah. That's wrong. But that's where there's a lack of humanity, a lack of compassion.
Well, and a lack of patriotism.
That too.
I mean, if you're going to talk all this patriot bullshit, wave the flag, stand up, say the national anthem, then you should care about the people who are the most vulnerable in our society, and you should want to try to help them. And the whole bullshit about socialism is a crock of crap. I was even talking to the same friend I was telling you who's the business, they get some of their money indirectly through the government.
Taxes.
Because they get it to this particular entity that comes from the government, because they get government contracts, and then they use that money for them to make these parts. And I'm like, And he's smart enough to get it, right? But other people don't get it. Those other guys, the person who knows is ultra MAGA. His whole family's ultra MAGA. Most of the people that are ultra MAGA. And if you say, they will say, socialism's horrible, socialism's horrible. You're partially on the socialist dime, dummy. like
Like
you're
Mr.
not even
SpaceX
getting-
over
what
there.
gets
you're
me-
not even getting it.
What gets me is even in the Constitution is a form of socialism, because in the Constitution it clearly states that the government is for the welfare of the people, and the welfare of the people is defined by security, prosperity, and health. Okay, and that's what the government is supposed to help ensure.
Well, that's what I would define it
Well,
as.
that's what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, that's what the founding architects of the Constitution were looking at, and it's clear and present. But people ignore that. Well, it's like you said earlier. Most people haven't, let alone read the Constitution. They don't know anything about the Constitution. The thing that's supposed to
Yeah, dude, the Second Amendment. I get to own guns.
yeah, right.
You're not taking guns away from me.
The thing that's supposed to have the most profound effect in people's lives, and they know nothing about it.
No.
And that's one of the things I try to educate people to, even when I do some of the speeches that I've done, is that's what the Constitution is about. It's about, the welfare of the people, and that's how it's stated. The welfare of the people doesn't mean that you get a handout, but it's supposed to help you in those hard times.
There's always going to be somebody that's going to take advantage of the system.
Well, yeah,
But I mean, to say that it's not the billionaire and it's the mother on food stamps that's getting $1,700 a month to feed 5 kids is ridiculous to me.
who's harming it mostly?
Yeah.
The billionaires.
Yes.
The billionaires are getting away with murder. Mm-hmm. They turn around and they got all these tax breaks. And with what first of all, with what these tax breaks amount to for these billionaires, do you think that amount of money that they're saving or getting back is really that substantial for them? It's not. What it would be substantial for would be for people and for our programs that we have in place. And we need to keep those programs in place. And the one way that we do is for people to vote yes on 50, and for the people to go out on the streets and support your legislators and support your representatives and call them and make sure that they're behind you by voting for Medicaid and doing away with this big fucking bill that was in
And get out there and protest.
Right on.
Yes.
So that's the end of this episode of our show. So
What's it called, Larry? You won't.
Yes, on
you can't
50.
say. You better say yes. What is it? What's it called? Say
What's
it.
the
Larry.
name of the podcast
What's the name
there?
of our podcast, Larry?
it's called Fighting for Common Ground.
There we go. Okay, got it.
So
Almost there.
thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey, for clapping.
Yeah, Kelsey. That's a new one.
I'm gonna use every K name I can think of off of her.
But we want to thank you for having sit there and listened to us all this time, and we'll have another podcast come out soon too. Every 2 weeks there's a podcast that'll be dropped. So if you have any comments, if you have any questions, you have any suggestions,
Is there a place to leave comments?
Yeah, in your podcast there should be a place.
Do they have to make an account to do that?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
You have to ask Ron. He's the technical wizard. He says no.
Okay.
So do whatever you can, and we look forward to you joining us again. And hopefully, you'll put some word in there. We can, we have questions or some suggestions for topics. We'd be more than happy to take those and act upon them. So this is Larry saying, till we meet again, and
Casey, till we meet again.
John, peace and chicken grease.
and who else? Bye.
Bye.